We are live. Hello, critical thinkers. Hope all is well. Hope all is well. Do me a favor, if you guys can hear me out there, type in a 1 in the chat. If you can hear me, it'll greatly help. Again, any audio issues, feel free to let me know. But if you can hear me, do me a favor, and the audio sounds cool and crisp, hit a 1 in the chat now as I put away this music. So first and foremost, thanks for being here. Please like the stream, share the stream, and if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. This stream is about a story of a faithful, dedicated New York State trooper who was going about his duties on the Southern State Parkway, found what appeared to be a vehicle that needed some assistance. Upon beginning to help the individual, which happened to be a dark-skinned male, the individual in the vehicle began to shoot at the New York State Trooper. That's all that I'm going to tell you for now. I'm going to play you a little short that will show you the greeting that this New York State Trooper got when he was exiting the hospital. So get a load of this. Get a load of this. Here we go.
Trooper shot and wounded on the Southern State Parkway, just released from the hospital. There he is. This was the scene at Mascia University Medical Center, East Meadow. Look at the applause. Fellow troopers saluting and cheering as 27-year-old Thomas Mascia left the hospital. On Wednesday night, he pulled over to help what he thought was a stranded motorist, but police say that driver opened fire, shot Trooper Mascia in the leg. The gunman got away in a dark car that had temporary New Jersey license plates, and police are still looking for him.
Okay, as you can tell from that short, when he came out of the hospital, he got treated like he was freaking Aquaman. He got treated like a hero for what he underwent in terms of being shot in the leg. But, you know, once the investigators began to investigate what was occurring, after they launched a manhunt for this alleged individual who opened fire on a New York State trooper, things didn't quite add up. So the next video I'm going to play is going to tell you more about that story. I'm going to pull up the video here. And let's go.
In courtroom today, former New York State Trooper Thomas Mascia admitted to staging his own shooting last fall on the Southern State Parkway. And the Nassau County DA also gave some insight into why Mascia may have done it. News 4's Greg Sergel has the details.
What made you want to do that?
The former New York State Trooper never responded to reporters' questions today about staging his own shooting last October. But when asked why Thomas Mascia finally admitted his guilt in court, Mascia's own lawyer provided a surprisingly frank answer.
Because he was guilty, and it was a good plea offer, and he was guilty, and he wanted to accept responsibility for his actions.
Shot fired, I'm hit.
Mascia had claimed a dark-skinned driver shot him here on the Southern State Parkway. But today he told a judge he shot himself in the leg. Why he did it has remained unclear. But today Nassau's DA said Mascia's breakup with a girlfriend may have played a role.
Apparently she's a nurse, and he wanted to get, maybe some sympathy from her and attention from her.
Now an order of protection requires the 27-year-old Mascia to stay away from that unidentified woman.
This is obviously the result of mental health issues.
2 weeks ago, Mascia's mental state delayed this plea agreement, but today the deal was finalized. Mascia will be sentenced to 6 months in jail and 5 years probation. He must also pay the state $289,000 for the cost of the manhunt that followed the shooting.
It's amazing to me that someone who took an oath to protect and serve just admitted to being deceitful and a liar.
And Mascia's lawyer says this hoax wasn't first. According to the lawyer, Mascia lied in 2022 about being struck by a hit-and-run driver while on patrol in Westchester County.
He obviously suffered from some mental health issues that were never addressed. Now they're being addressed. It came to this. It's a shame.
Late today, a state police spokesman said that 2022 incident was investigated, but there wasn't enough evidence to bring criminal charges against Mascia. As for this incident, the former trooper will be sentenced in August. In Mineola, Greg Sergel, News 4 New York.
Pardon me, I was muted. Let's go deeper. Let's go into an article from the New York Post that goes into specifically what occurred and why the state trooper may have done what he did. Okay. Again, this article is from the New York Post. Disgraced New York State Trooper demanded to be treated at hospital where nurse X worked after faking his own shooting. Sources by Brandon Cruz and Jorge Fitz-Gibbon. He had no shame. A disgraced former state trooper who faked his own shooting to get sympathy from his ex-girlfriend was so desperate to get her attention he asked to be taken to the hospital where she worked as a nurse, sources said. Nassau County prosecutor said Thomas Mascia was determined to impress the woman after she dumped him last year. So he staged the October 30th, 2024 incident, claiming a black man in a black Dodge Charger shot him in the leg during a traffic stop on the Southern State Parkway and sped off. And this is a picture of the state trooper. They blurred out the face of his his boo, his ex-boo. Let's move on with this. When first responders got to the scene, Mascia asked to be taken to the Long Island hospital where he knew she would be on duty, law enforcement sources told the Post. In fact, the whole thing was a sick ruse to get her back. But it backfired when authorities got wise to the scam, which cost him his job, his love interest, and his freedom. The scheming former trooper was hit with a 6-month sentence Wednesday after pleading guilty to charges of official misconduct and tampering with evidence, and an order of protection for his acts. And this is disgraced state trooper Thomas Mascia was sentenced to 6 months behind bars on Wednesday for misconduct. Everyone started out rooting for you. Nassau County Judge Robert Bogle berated Mascia at his sentencing. Bet you let us on fraud and dangerous, outrageous behavior. I hope during your incarceration you will reflect on your misdeeds and abuse of official authority. You violated the trust of the state of New York, the judge added. Nassau County DA Ann Donnelly said the ex-cop did research online to determine the safest place and the body to be shot, and even read up on what it felt like to be a gunshot victim. On the night of the incident, Mascia even spilled shell casings onto the parkway to make it look real, and sold the lie enough that he got a traditional police walkout when he left the hospital on November 1st. The fake shooting sent hundreds of New York metro area law enforcement officers on a manhunt for the fictitious gunman who shot a fellow officer until the fraud was exposed. Mascia resigned in disgrace on January 24th and was later charged, leading to his plea deal in May and his sentencing on Wednesday, which included an order to pay $289,511 in restitution. His lawyer, Jerry Lichtman, blamed the stage shooting on many years of mental health issues that were never treated. Tom is getting mental health treatment and is sorry for all the pain he caused, he said Thursday. Meanwhile, his former love interest, who's not being identified, could not be reached for comment. And that is the end of that article. I'm going to pull up a video showcasing the sentencing. So let's pull this up now. This is clip number 3.
There was applause and support for a state trooper who said that he was shot on Long Island, but It turned out to be a lie. And today he was sentenced for shooting himself and making the whole thing up. As Carolyn Gussoff reports, new evidence shows he did his homework before the shooting.
Sentencing day for former New York State Trooper Thomas Mascia, and though he pleaded guilty, he said nothing when the judge asked if he had a statement.
He's mortified at his behavior. He regrets it, obviously. It was a mistake. He regrets it, and he'll live with it the rest of his life.
His attorney said lifelong struggles with mental health led Mascia to shoot himself in the leg last year, then concoct a story he was shot while on duty, setting off a manhunt for a motorist he even described as dark-skinned. A planned and researched farce, say prosecutors, to get attention and sympathy.
There was an ex-girlfriend he was trying to impress, and we believe that he wanted the public to see him as a hero.
Shot fired, I'm hit.
Just released evidence shows the bullet casings Mascia admits he scattered on the Southern State Parkway to stage a fake crime scene, a highway he allegedly chose because of its lack of cameras. Internet searches show research into which body part to shoot and what temporary New Jersey plates look like so he could describe a fleeing car. Following the shooting, everyone started out rooting for you, the judge told Mascia, calling the wild goose chase he set off dangerous and outrageous. Sentencing Mascia to 6 months in jail, 5 years probation, $289,000 in restitution for the manhunt for a phantom shooter and mental health treatment.
Why did this occur? It doesn't just occur out of the blue. It occurs because it was a result of many years of mental health issues that were never treated.
His parents will serve no time, charged with illegal gun possession during a search of their home. Of the 6-month sentence, Mascia is only required to serve 4, and he'll spend that time in protective custody for his own safety. In Mineola, Long Island, Carolyn Gussoff, CBS News, New York.
So what do you think? Do you think 6 months is an appropriate sentence for an officer, former officer, who shot himself in the leg for love, who spawned this this outcry of support, manhunt for an alleged shooter that did not exist? All those manpower resources went down the drain. Do you think 6 months, which actually he'll do 4 out of 6, most likely, do you think that's an appropriate sentence for what he did? Let me know in the comments section. So I want to thank everyone for being here. Everyone take care. God bless, and I will see you next time.